Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Francois Sarhan and I'm going to introduce you tonight to the Encyclopaedia Glaconnica and more precisely the first volume. The first thing to say is that the Encyclopaedia Glaconnica is a project which is a long-term project held by a group of scientists. We are going to meet some very, very soon. And this group of scientists gathers every now and then to share their discoveries on various subjects, which are here published for the first time in a compact and practical way under the shape of 12 books, this one being the volume 1. This volume 1 is dedicated to music and fishes. But without more introduction, I would like to jump into the subjects and ask Huguette Rudette about the rigolette Malignant.
Are there any legends about you that you would like to scotch right now, like the fact that you, at the age of 4 months or something, wrote a thesis on Nietzsche's philosophy, or
anything new?
Yes. Well, recently I was on a kind of research expedition in Iceland, just in Reykjavik, not any of the sort of more rural parts.
Why not?
This collaboration between the two of you, have you ever worked together before on a project?
Supposed to be a ghost story?
My sort of research there was focused on this new building that's a kind of, it's a center for the arts, but it's also a kind of concert hall and an opera, rehearsal studio. It's right down in town in the middle of Reykjavik and positioned on this beautiful peninsula that overlooks the harbor and the glaciers, and the buds had some flower.
Is that intentional?
Strange, almost like tubular bells kind of set up. They were sort of in a kind of line, and the flowers, the pistons of the flowers were kind of reaching out, and they would be blown by the wind. And I remembered, oh, this must be an example of the malignant rigolette.
And no blood again, Doc?
The malignant rigolette is a little red flower which grows on buildings close to humans. It captures elements of living organisms, such as insects, or if you put your finger in it, it will suck the blood, not only to get food, but it's also a musical assimilation. The prey assimilated by the rigolette is quickly transformed into a fragment of a singing pistol. This suggests that all the elements of the body, such as our finger or our nose, possess a musical memory of what has passed through the brain. In one finger lies a database of your personal hit parade.
But, somewhere in my distant research, I remember reading through, and I was like, wow, okay, here it is. Of course, on an island where, humanity has suddenly plopped itself down to destroying the birch and the volcanic structures. Of course, in the center of the city, next to this cultural center, comes the malignant rigolette, of course.
How much of you was in that character?
Yeah, we were kind of just noticing it, and we would hear, it was a little confusing because, we have the harbor, so there's the boats coming in and out, and we'd hear these sort of distant horns sounding. But we realized that these little was actually coming from inside the piston of the malignant rigolette.
How do you deal with that problem of having been inspired by something very locally specific and to make it yours?
In the end, I accidentally actually touched the piston of one of them. And I sort of remembered that, according to Schlitzenpunkte in this sort of research that I saw, that, you're really not meant to touch them because they can start to sort of, in like a siren type of way, they suck the soul of your musical consciousness out of you, and can also cause kind of these physical paralyzations.
Did you use the right number?
You still smoke cigars?
What compels you to tackle these major historical events through music?
Yeah, this flower just started. This is the hand that I was using that accidentally touched the interior.
Therefore, by listening to a Malignant rigolette, we can know better the taste and the musical unconscious of its owner, or at least of the person who touched it recently.
What?
Well, the Lying Brothers, they sort of adopted this name. Of course, they didn't choose to be called the Lying Brothers necessarily, because they'd lied about their own invention. And the Wood Brothers, of course, they're genetically modified wood men. The Lying Brothers were always rivals with the Wood Brothers. And when they learned of the genetic modification of the Woodmen, they lied and said that they had been genetically modified with glass. This was discovered very quickly to be a lie. These rival factions in Munich were quite famous in their day for their musical inventions, because of course they don't follow a strict creed, but they have rituals and they have code and some exclusivity. Maybe more, you could think of them more as gangs, music gangs. Yeah, people talk about Illuminati, Freemasons, but I think there's a much larger conspiracy going on.
What does he do on a Wednesday night?
What am I going to do here, you know?
Their musical inventions are largely forgotten, such as the Musicbeasts, the glove comb, which is almost inconspicuous because it has the triple purpose of keeping your hands warm, combing your hair, and as you comb your hair, it gives you beautiful music hallucinations, but you also lose your mind.
Do you like to be scared yourself?
It's indescribable. It's music that only exists in your head. I mean, it puts everyone to shame. Yeah, it's interesting to think of it as an instrument because you don't so much play it as experience it.
Did you hear that?
The Musicbeasts is a body of wood, strings of wood, tuning pegs of wood, everything of wood. After a few moments, you fall back into an old dream that you had. It's quite a innocent experience.
And what is it about?
But it's a known fact that Sigmund Freud owned a Musicbeast. I think the problem was that it's not empirical enough. Whereas, of course, Freud theorized and codified all of these things. Because, of course, he wasn't very public about his relationship to the Musicbeasts. I would say he definitely made it unfashionable. I had a great uncle who owned a Musicbeast, and it was the last one in West Virginia. It was destroyed in a fire when I was young, and I remember him playing it once. And ever since then, I've just been incredibly fascinated by these mental instruments.
Alors l'idée du verraphone, concerne le début du XXe siècle. Ça a été l'idée de personnes de créer un orchestre qui venait à domicile en fait. Et comme c'est très difficile à réaliser, ils ont créé un meuble qu'ils ont appelé le verraphone, qui permet de faire jouer dans la même pièce plusieurs personnes en même temps, jusqu'à 80.
I don't know how to explain it, but somehow we've been set back in time.
Mais alors ça dépend les tests étaient difficiles, ça dépend en fait de l'endroit où se trouve le verraphone bien sûr, et du nombre de musiciens possibles dans la ville ou l'endroit où ils étaient commandés.
What's the matter?
Un privé qui voulait se donner une sorte de contenance, tout ça en assumant au-delà du simple fait d'être mélomane, en créant des concerts, en convoquant des gens chez lui, et à partir de ce meuble et en créant des concerts qu'il produisait lui-même. Donc il y avait beaucoup de gens qui se présentaient dans certaines villes, c'est-à-dire il pouvait avoir rapidement 60 ou 80 musiciens. Le problème était la différence de niveau entre les participants. ce qui donnait une cacophonie impossible. Donc, il a proposé d'offrir ses services de médecin et de trépaner les brebis galeuses de l'ensemble, c'est-à-dire progressivement les faire disparaître du monde sonore. Certains lieux où la tradition musicale était élevée, l'orchestre marchait à 60 personnes très très vite. Et dans ces lieux-là, le meuble a eu beaucoup de succès. C'est-à-dire que le principe plus la réalisation du meuble ont fait le succès du verraphone.
How difficult did you find that transition, or how interesting did you find that transition between machine and musician?
It's highly theoretical.
De créer de la musique savante a été problématique. Donc, ils se sont réfugiés ils sont dirigés vers des musiques plus populaires qui correspondaient à l'époque, c'est-à-dire les années 30. Et donc, post-Belle Époque et tout ça. Donc, il y a même des chansonniers. Il y a eu des verraphones qui réalisaient l'accompagnement pour des chansonniers qui étaient présents. Donc là, c'était en plus petite formation, 20 ou 30 personnes. Alors, ce qui s'est passé, on ne sait pas si c'est l'influence d'autres régions du Sud et tout ça, mais dans le verraphone, il y a eu une demande d'instrumentistes qui jouaient le fifre à lunettes. Donc, c'est un instrument qui s'entendait très, très loin, à plusieurs kilomètres, avec des sons stridents aigus. Et donc, c'était des musiciens qui venaient à vélo, les joueurs de fifre à lunettes. Et ils formaient une grande partie de l'orchestre, qui était reconnaissable de très loin. Peu à peu, la guerre venant et tout ça, le créateur verraphone a plus du tout eu les moyens d'en faire construire d'autres. Et c'est devenu un objet de musée, en fait, qu'on peut trouver maintenant, mais plus du tout utilisé comme orchestre maison.
Do I have to remind you that theory is a beginning of solution?
Now, did you feel driven by integrity to put this on here, or is this common procedure?
Ah oui, non, c'était même la base, en fait, c'est que ça ne peut pas être joué sans lunettes.
So the automatic guitar was invented by the duo of extraordinary inventors, the Truffins. Their specialty was songs, and a very special type of songs, which is patriotic love song. Some say guitar is like a razor which leads your soul to hell.
Can I talk to you a moment? But you must.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, their circus career was not very successful. They asked themselves a question. When we look at the instrument, when we touch any instrument, may it be a flute or harp, we wonder what kind of music was played before.
Wait a minute. I want to know your plans.
They made a series of experiments which included weighing the instrument, interviews and deep researches with the musicians played on instrument, and so on, to reveal how the memory of instrument can find its voice.
Don't you understand?
So basically automatic guitar is like a jukebox, but jukebox in itself. And then Sibling was the next step. It's a music revealer, if you want. So Truffin duo used to put an instrument in a Sibling bass, and then it triggered even more. All kinds of experiences that this instrument ever had.
Wise for the national. Nor wise for the national.
Murder. Banal murder. That's how it ended. So the duo of Truffins already was a quartet. Yes, they invited their sons to help, and they all were in their jacuzzi, having their instruments in the Sibling bath and themselves bathing. Then, when their Putzfrau or cleaning lady came, she found all of them drowned. When a policeman, Sir Harris, made an analysis of the water, he said, no trace of Sibling. It is a simple water. Would you trust such a story? Sibling will appear again, and then this day the music history will change forever.
Now, I want the truth.
I think I know a way.
I think I have the answer.
At the last possible moment.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now time to conclude. Thank you for your attention. To summarize, the Encyclopaedia Glaconnica is dedicated to all the very important and largely forgotten subjects about music for the volume 1, and then animals, architecture, saints, and other important things in the next volumes to come. This first volume is available on glaçonpublishing.com or on the website of Francois Sarhan. You can just look it up, and it will be possible to receive it and improve very much your general knowledge about the world. However, this book is not available on Amazon, neither on Amazon nor in shops. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you learned a lot. Good night.